Need to introduce myself. I am Yahya Jammeh. I am the president of Law Students Association. I am here to represent the civil society. I also work with the Drug Law Enforcement Agency under the Directorate of Intelligence and International Cooperation, but I'm here wearing only one cap, representing the civil society, not the government, actually. So it is really a pleasure to serve as the moderator to this important session. So I actually call this session to order. Please, let's reduce noise and concentrate. Listen keenly, please. So I will ask this question to read, that is Omar Conte. Omar Conte, we understand that advocacy and sensitization is very, very cardinal in trying to fight against illicit drug trafficking in the Gambia, because we understand that most of the problem that revolves around this menace in the Gambia has to do with ignorance, misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. So as far as your organization is concerned, what are you doing to sensitize the people about the detrimental effects, and what are some of the laws also that govern your activities so that people will be aware? Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. At the site of Ready Gambia, since establishment in 1998, we have been engaging in a series of policy issues and community-based intervention programs to sensitize people about the dangers of illicit drugs and substance abuse, including tobacco, Caesar, and any other forms of tobacco products. In relation to drugs, since the establishment of Ready Gambia, we were actively engaged in drug sensitization, harm reduction campaign to sensitize the youths about the dangers of illicit drugs to the social and economic development of the country. We realized that these are some of the issues that are affecting our young people. These are the problems that are affecting our young people for not to participate actively in the development of these societies. So we started the campaign since 1998 up to around 2015, when our focus shifted from drugs and substance abuse to tobacco control. Because when you talk of substance abuse, it's not only drugs. That is the Thai or the cannabis that we are smoking. Tobacco is also a substance abuse, including the scissor that people are using, and even the one that the women are using, called the genital tobacco. All these are substance abuse that are affecting our young people. In 2009 up to 2021, we've been sensitizing the communities all over the country. We have a representative in West Coast region, LRR, NBR, CRR. We went to the communities, engaged them, have a honest conversation with them, even the youths that are using drugs. We have to go to an extent of having them in the forum to invite them also for them to have their say. Most of the people that what they are saying is that they have been neglected. That is why they are into this substance abuse. But we try to sensitize them, create their awareness in order to know the health implications of some of these substance abuse that are affecting their lives and the well-being. With regards to some of the laws that we have the Drug Control Act 2003 that has been already currently under review. Through the support and the intervention from Ready Gambia and other civil society and other development partners, we want to advocate for the Drug Control Act that we have to be amended so that we can have some health aspect, that is a public health approach. Because what we realize is the Drug Control Act 2003 we have special focuses on criminal justice system. That is the mandatory life sentence for drug abusers or drug users. But for us, we are advocating for that act to be amended, and we have succeeded in that. It's already currently under review, and some of the clauses that we are advocating for, that is the public health approach, counseling and rehabilitation, to be included in this act. I'm happy to report that with the collaboration of National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, this act has been reviewed, and it has been sent to the Ministry of Justice for further scrutiny. With regards to Tobacco Control Act, that was in 2016, but before Tobacco Control Act came in, there was a Public Smoking Act, which was a private member bill that was sponsored in the National Assembly by the late Idrissa Samba Sala with the blessed memory. He was a former National Assembly member for Same constituency who sponsored a private member bill in the parliament to prohibit public smoking. He has succeeded in the enactment, but the implementation was a problem. So when we roll out this in 2015, we realized that all the existing Tobacco Control Act we need to have a comprehensive one that will have everything on this Tobacco Control Act. That is why we have a functional Tobacco Control Act in the Gambia, which is one of the best Tobacco Control Act in African region. Because our Tobacco Control Act has distinguished the public smoking and that of the selling of single sticks. That is why you do not see any tobacco advertisement in the Gambia. And other countries, the laws that they have a designated smoking area. And in the Tobacco Control Act, we don't have that one. So these are some of the issues that we are rolling out. And as time goes on, we will deliberate more on this issue. Thank you.
Thank you very much. He made mention of certain things that are very, very important. That is the drug control bill. It's not only the Gambia, the world at large, actually. They want to shift from the punitive measures in addressing world drug problem and consider it as a health issue. How can we do this? We cannot do it without having the legislation in place. So the bill is with the Ministry of Justice to be tabled at the National Assembly, but we have a responsibility as CSOs because the National Assembly are answerable to the society. We need to ask them questions as to what are they doing in enacting these laws. It's not only issues around mental issues, actually. It has to do with the safety of officers. It has to do with the safety of the society as well. All those things are incorporated in the bill, but however, is it enacted into law? This is the question that we need to ask ourselves. We have a responsibility to ensure that we ask these people, we engage them to do the right thing, to represent our interests at large, because that is their responsibility. So thank you so much for your deliberation. I will now want to invite the government, because Drug Law Enforcement Agency is the lead government institution that is regulating and enforcing the laws that are meant to fight against drugs and crime in the Gambia. So I will invite Dauda to briefly talk about your mandate, because we understand that you have two cardinal mandates, that is drug demand reduction and drug supply suppression. And drug demand reduction is very, very fundamental. It has to do with sensitization, because this is a component that you cannot miss out in fighting against drugs in the Gambia, illicit drugs in the Gambia. So, Dauda, I will invite you to talk about your mandate and how you conduct this sensitization. How do you engage the communities? How do you engage the youth? Because the youth involvement in drug cannot be ignored in any way. The record actually shows that the majority of people that abuse drugs in the Gambia are youth. So how are you addressing this problem? Because this is a youth forum. So we need to identify our problem and see how best we can discuss around it and come up with possible solutions to address it. So what are you doing to engage the people, to sensitize them, for them to know their rules? And also, what are the laws that are in place to ensure that you conduct these activities?
Thank you very much, Sisao Cham, for that question. Again, I am Dauda Sanyang from the Drug Law Enforcement Agency. As he mentioned, the Drug Law Enforcement Agency is the agency that is mandated by law to regulate all the affairs relating to illicit drug trafficking, drug abuse, and related crimes. So any other association partners with us so that they can help us in the fight against drugs. So the Drug Law Enforcement Agency, we fight drugs in two folds. We have the combative approach, where you see our men in pickups trying to kill some of the youths that are dealing in drugs. But aside from that, we have the drug demand reduction unit. Because when you go to the Drug Control Act 2003, Section 15, subsection 1, M and G, talks about sensitization of public, especially the youths, about the effects of drugs. So that is why the agency also align itself with international standard operations, and then comes up with what we call drug demand reduction unit in the agency. That is what the world is going by, because we cannot arrest all these people, prosecute them, and take them to mile 2, which is already filled up. Because when you go to mile 2 as of now, you see today that I can say 75% of them are all related to drug cases. You will see it on TV. Once they pardon people, if they ask them, what is your crime? 75% of them will say drugs, drug, drug, drug. So that is why the Drug Law Enforcement Agency also comes up with the Drug Demand Reduction Unit by sensitizing the public, especially our youth. And how we do this is in different sections. We have what we call school-based prevention policies, where we go to schools, engage the principals and the students, and we want to make sure that we form drug-free club in schools. They serve as advocacy groups in our schools. I think we have some of our teacher coordinators that are even part of you. We have launched drug-free club in many schools. And in June, we have visited 13 schools from URR to NBR, where we discuss with the students the effects of drugs, and equally the principal and staffs, so that we can form drug-free club in all these schools. And we equally trying to engage the government so that we can see if this can be implemented in our curriculum. Drug education, I think, is something that is very important, so that we can have that in our curriculum, and then from the onset, we catch them young, so that our children can know that drug is dangerous. Drug is something that is not good. Because once you involve in the drugs, there are two things. If you come in contact with the government, what will they do? They will take you to the station, charge you, and take you to court. If you are not arrested by the officials, you take it in, what will it do to you? It is going to affect your health. That is the most serious thing. Because there is no parent that will say, okay, let me give birth to a child, and then the person becomes a drug addict or a substance user, and then his health is affected, and then becomes a liability in the society. There is no parent that prays for that, not so. And equally, we have what we call radio sensitizations. As we speak in the Drug Law Enforcement Agency, I can say we are the only security sector that have over 7 radio programs that are running concurrently in different radio stations in the Gambia here. And lines are open, people send in their contributions. We have a special form that we fill, and then when we go back to office, we tender this to the management. This is what the public are saying. So if management also starts to discuss some issues with the board, they said, okay, this is what the public is saying. Why not, when we are trying to amend laws, why not we put these things into it? As he said, the Drug Control Act is under review at the moment. And there are some of the laws, we know the laws in the Drug Control Act are very harsh. But even though our youth are still abusing drugs, so we are trying to review it and amend some of the laws in it. And equally, we have community sensitization programs. As we're sitting here next week, I and my colleagues, we want to go to communities and sensitize the communities about drugs. Equally, there are communities that fight our personnel, not so. When they go on raiding, people will obstruct them, and in the due execution of their duties, some will even sustain injuries. If you are a follower of our page, we have a social media page on Facebook. We call it Nakomak Dele Gambia. Recently, there was a case at Bansang where some of our youth were seriously injured during operations. So we want people to know that there is a particular section in the Drug Control Act. If officers go on raiding, that means when they are doing their work, if you cannot help them, don't obstruct them in due execution of their duties. If you do, you are liable. Jabata is here, he's a counsel. He will tell you, if you obstruct an officer, how many years or months you are going to spend in prison, or how many thousands of dollars that you are going to pay. So I think this is what the drug demand reduction is doing to make sure that people are well informed about the effects, so that those that are not into it will have better information as to what drugs are, what are prohibited drugs, and what are controlled drugs. Because there are two types of drugs that the Drug Law Enforcement Agency fight. We have prohibited drugs and controlled drugs. When we said prohibited drugs, these are drugs that are prohibited. That means you should not even go closer to these drugs, talk less of using them, selling them, manufacturing them, or doing anything that is connected to these drugs. If you are, they are going to arrest you and charge you for being in possession of prohibited drugs, contrary to Section 33, subsection 1 of the Drug Control Act. And another type of drug that we fight is the controlled drugs. These are in medication forms. They are tablets. Some of them, they are prepared in clandestine laboratories. We call them controlled drugs. They are controlled in such a way that you as an individual can only use these drugs if you are sick, you go to the hospital, and you have seen the doctor, and the doctor prescribed this for you and said, okay, Lamin K-Fadi is sick. Lamin K-Fadi can use this medication. And that one too, it should not be a bunch of medicines with you. It's prescribed, not so, for a particular days, whether 3 days or 7 days or whatsoever days. But if you are arrested with these drugs, 100 tablets or 200, in a case where we arrested an individual with over 11,000 tablets of ecstasy, what are you going to do with this? There is a notion that you are selling this substance to our youths and they are abusing it. So these are the two types of drugs that the Drug Law Enforcement Agency fight: the prohibited drugs and controlled drugs. Prohibited drugs, the one that is mostly abused in the Gambia here, where our youth think that if you don't abuse this drug, we are not youth. That is Thai. It's a prohibited drug in the Gambia here. And if any one of you is found with it, you are liable. They will charge you for being in possession of prohibited drug. And most of our youth will tell you this is a natural tree. But things start at a particular point, not so. Because once you take in these substances, there will come a time that the euphoria, the feeling that you gain from it, you will no more have that in that particular drug that you are taking. What you will do is you will graduate from that and go to the next drug. Or they do a cocktail. That means mixture of different drugs. Especially now we have a new variant drug in the country we call KUS. This one, I think we all know what we call kube jaro. They call it datura in English. This one, they mix kube jaro, datura, with cannabis and any other different kind of drugs. You, the end user, that means you, the one using these drugs, they will not want you to know the chemicals that they compose to make sure that they have this substance. The only thing that they want you to feel is when you take it, you say, oh my God, this is good. Because the feeling that you are gaining from this substance is different from the feeling that you're going to have from, like when you take a nice benadryl or the nice breakfast that you take. And drug is very jealous. Once you are into it, sometimes it is very difficult to go back. You still go further. And it starts from what we call experimentation. You experiment it, then occasionally you use it, you become a regular user, and then you are addicted to it. And once you are addicted to this substance, you need support. And as we are speaking, the Drug Law Enforcement Agency, we are doing all means to make sure that we have a rehab center in the Gambia here. But as we are speaking, there is no rehabilitation center in the Gambia here where those that are addicted to drugs can be supported. So I think we, the youths, we need to tighten up our belt, we roll up our sleeves, and make sure we fight against drugs to the core. It is only the youth that can develop this country. Any other person from any other country is here to make sure that he gains something, and then we'll take that to his or her country. So I think we, the youth, need to tighten up our belt and help the Drug Law Enforcement Agency in the fight against drugs. Are we going to do that? I'm not hearing anything. Are you hungry or you are overdosed? You are all overdosed. So I think, Sisao, I will draw the curtain here because I know time is not on our side.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dauda, for that elaborative contributions. I will want to announce that if any participant is willing to ask any question, you can do so. But if you are not comfortable to do it verbally, you can just write it in a piece of paper, pass it to Champion Cham, or give it to me. But right now, the floor is not open for question and answer. I'm just trying to alert you in advance. Actually, I really need to thank Dauda for his presentation. He made mention of something that is very, very important that has to do with rehab center. We understand that the aim of criminal law is not just to punish people, it's not just to punish offenders, it's also to rehabilitate them so that they will become productive citizens of the country. So how do we do this? This is the question. Then this question will be posed to Mr. Courier as far as his activities are revolved around mental health. So what will be your advice to the government, to the youth, to civil society organizations? What kind of model should they really adopt in order to ensure that this rehabilitation is incorporated in our system? Yes.
Thank you so much. Definitely, you touched something that really I felt it on my heart because of it's sad. It's definitely sad. The reality needs to be spoken out. A nation without a rehabilitation center is very sad. Look into it. Mental health problem is like, according to WHO, 1 out of every 4 person is having mental health problem. And then mental health issues could be the effect of our environmental influences. When we can no more cope with ordinary demand from our environment, this tends to push us in a way that we became distressed. We cannot respond on the normal way, then it became abnormal to the eye of the another party. So they tend to see mistakes in you. That's when we start beginning to have mental health problem. And it became severe when the things persist and continue. Then until you started to withdraw away from all social activities and not doing any positive things that benefits one's life, either by choosing doing destructive activity. This will become now when you are going into the mental illness stage, because there you need help. You will need either a psychologist or a psychiatrist or a counselor to bail you out. So these things is very severe. And in related to drugs in the Gambia, according to the Tanka, it has even stated that most of the people that they admit are people that drugs abusers, people that use substances. So in the sense, look into it, people that abuse drugs need addiction professional to treat them. They may have different way of treatment. So the facility that we have, of course, we will complement it. That's what we have. But we need a better facility, because that facility is not the right one for this treatment. A rehabilitation center is meant for this kind of treatment. So this is why we need to have one. And again, fact have shown that when many people have either used drugs or substances in certain way, they may be delusional or have certain hearing of voices. What happened is that we easily caught them and say they are mentally sick and park them there, or they bring them for assessment, they get them to Tanka. But these people, they easily have a clear mind, because after a few days, they don't access the drugs, their mindsets start getting clear. They are the same people that will scale the fence and run away, because they don't have actually an illness. They have a problem with substance abuse. They have a problem with addiction. And I also made the scenarios as well. The same people confine certain traditional healers that are also doing their treatment, because the fact of the matter, Tanka Tanka is not the only treatment place, because most of us, when we start feeling certain symptoms, a lot of Gambians will run to traditional healers before going to the hospital. So these traditional healers as well, they confine and they do treatment. I went to traditional healers. I saw that most of the people also that they are having are using substances, because they will change them within 3 days. The mindset of those people became clear and they start talking in orderly. So it is realized that they recover, they are better, the demon is out of their system. But not realizing that they were with a high substance abuse, this is what getting them astray. So this is another thing that is definitely affecting the treatment program when you look at mental health in general related to substance. Also, as what the league is a partner and a colleague said, Dauda, the community has a big role to play, because treatment does not only stop in facility, it continues within the community level. The community will need to open up will need to open up their arms and embrace these individuals, those people that have been discharged from the hospital. But what happened? Today, when we discharge people from the hospital, if they are coming back, look at that was the ex-convict discharged from the hospital. So these people do not fit into the society back, because they hear the words, they feel shame, they notice their mistakes, and they want to do better. But the environment is affecting them. So in the sense, this will easily trigger their relapse. Because when they start being distressed, they will look for comfort zones. And to their comfort, they might go back to where they were getting the substance again, because that's where they believe they have the friends. They will go there and get it and relapse back again. So this is the routine problem that I believe is been going all around. And it is important as a state for the government to be more serious and increase the mental health budget with the treatment budget, and also the people putting their life on the front, like the healthcare providers. Gambia is only having 3 psychiatric doctors. Imagine. It's only having 11 psychiatric nurses. And this is supposed to serve a population for more than 2.5 million. It is definitely serious. We have to create an avenue that we improve more capacity, that we have more psychiatrists, psychologists in the system, so that we can have more care and support. Because mental health problem is actually inevitable, because every day we deal with life demands. And life demands brings us ups and down mood. And these ups and down moods need to be managed by how we handle situation. So I thereby say that it's better now than later. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Korea. You actually made mention that the government needs to be serious in establishing rehab center. So I will throw this question to Mr. Jabate. What is the government doing actually to establish this center?
Thank you very much. Since the Drug Law Enforcement Agency is the lead security outfit that is established to help to police drug-related matters. Now, and the world globally, people have seen that using the incarceration method, that is to arrest offenders and lock them in jail, that is not a solution to the problem. Because we've seen here and there, some people will be released from jail today, and by tomorrow they will be arrested again and taken to remand. In fact, some people, if you arrest them, you ask them to give you your address, they will tell you my address is mile 2, because that's where I am coming from. You know, that's where I am coming from. And the other issue is people that become addicts, because they have nowhere to go, they are not given the proper care that they need to help them to contribute to the development of themselves and to the development of society. Now, the Drug Law Enforcement Agency has felt the need that globally people are now moving towards the direction of drug demand reduction. And when you talk about drug demand reduction, it talks about harm reduction, treatment and prevention, how to prevent people from using drugs and how to treat people that have become drug addicts along the line. Now, but since this facility is not available, because you remember Drug Law Enforcement Agency is a government subvented institution, and government, you tell them, at any time you tell them money, they say it's a tax-based economy, we don't have money. So government, Drug Law Enforcement Agency have to rely on partners to help us with funding to be able to have a rehab center. Already, we secured a drug law enforcement agency, secured a plot of land at Tranquil, mental health nurses, social workers, and some delicate person professionals, level 1. We did that training to be able to run that rehab center once we have a rehab center. Because people that have become drug addicts, sending them to jail is not the solution. That is just going to compound more problems. Because once you bring them out, at any time they are out, they will still have to go all out to get the drugs. And once you arrest them again, you send them back. So if you are not tired of sending them back to mile 2, they are not also tired, anytime they are out, they will go all out to get the drugs. So government, as at now, that's our level of preparedness. We've secured a plot of land and plans are in place to construct a modern rehab center whereby we'll help our people that are already in conflict with drugs as a result of their drug addiction. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jabate. Now we will focus on something that is very, very important as far as fighting against drugs in the Gambia is concerned. That is misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. As youth organizations, we have a role to play in order to ensure that there is a proper accountability mechanism in place. It is your role to really challenge the government to do the right thing. But how do we do it? That is our responsibility. We need to understand as to how we put the government into account. So this will be an open question to all of you, anyone who wants to answer it. What do you expect from the youth? How do they put this proper accountability mechanism in place? Do they just go to social media and try to send misinformation? Or do they write reports to relevant institutions to engage them to do the right thing? Or what kind of mechanism do you expect young people to actually perform their responsibility in society?
Thank you very much. In my opinion, I think a forum like this, whenever the forum is ended, I think there should be a resolution that should be forwarded to the ministry, particularly the Ministry of Youth, because this is the satellite institution that is responsible for the affairs of the youth in all this country. So the other mechanism that we can use is to build a coalition of civil society and youth organizations to be the voice of the voiceless, because the issue of drug is a multi-sectoral approach. This is the approach that we use in our tobacco control activity. The other method that we can use is to sign petitions, because most of the issues that have been elaborated here, the issue of rehabilitation is a very serious concern. Us as a civil society, we are also doing our part. We are mobilizing funds for the government, because civil society in the Gambia is the one that is giving the fund to the government. So we are doing our level best in order to make sure that we secure funds from international donors in order to build a fully furnished rehabilitation and counseling centers that will take care of our youth. Because the issue of drug, not only drugs, substance abuse, including tobacco, seizure, and the genital tobacco that women are using is seriously alarming in this country. So I think building a coalition of civil society and youth organizations, this is the approach that most of the countries are using. Countries like Ghana, Kenya, and South Africa, these are methods that we are using. But in the Gambia here, most of the civil societies work in solo. This is on human rights. This one is on transitional justice. This one is on health. Why not we build a coalition of civil society that will confront the government, that will make the government accountable and make sure that we are using track of our youth because of this substance abuse. So I think this is the method that we can employ as for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Omar. I think that's something that is very important, and I believe that is one is feasible. We can equally copy. Like the world is a global village, and we copy best practices from each other. And the other thing about this misinformation and so on and so forth, I believe our young people are not better informed. This is why sometimes they take decisions that are detrimental to their development. Because when you look at drugs, and the other thing people need to understand is you just don't have to isolate an individual because he is using drugs. No, that's a very bad step. Because if you are rejected in your house, you go to the street, you will be embraced. And if you are embraced in the street, then you will feel this is where I belong. Then obviously, that's where you'll be comfortable. So you'll be joining them all the time. But even if in your house, once they realize that you are into drugs, that's the time when you should be brought closer so that you will not escape. Because if you send them out from the house, they are going to be embraced outside, like I said earlier on. So when they start these drugs issues, once people started drugs, that's the best time to get them, to pin them down, so that you can try to disconnect them from their friends. Because sometimes it is the friends that will use them to do it. Like I am doing it, I have a friend, in fact, if I want to tease him, I can say, it's only men that take this. If you are not man enough, you cannot try this, And every man would want to prove that I am a man. So obviously he will try it. Before he will realize that, obviously, then actually the mistake is done. So the best people to correct that mistake is the house first, before letting it outside. Get the individual, start giving him responsibilities, and be monitoring him. He will stop, you can stop him. But once you start sending them home, even if they enter the houses, you hear people saying, get out of my house, please don't enter my house, lock my door. Don't allow him to enter my house. Why? As you stigmatize him, then he will start doing some funny things, And when you look at information, now, one thing that people are misusing in this country is the social media. I am sorry if some people are offended, but I think when it is time to state the facts, we state it. Drug Law Enforcement Agency, we have a social media page, and our doors are open. If you hear any information with regards to drugs or any of our activities, you are highly invited to come to verify. We will answer you. But people will just hear stories, half-baked stories, and just draw their conclusions, jump into Facebook, spread information. Our problem with even these drugs is this misinformation. Like I can remember, since the time I was going to school, this is in the early 90s, high school days, we have a problem with mathematics. Some of us, we are not that very much smart. Mathematics was a challenge. But the boys will tell us, boy, if you smoke weed, if you enter the mathematics class, you'll understand everything what the teacher explains. That's misinformation. A colleague of ours could not start to the mathematics GCE or level paper because a night before he went to smoke. Because he was told that, if you smoke tomorrow when you go to exams in the maths, you will do well in the mathematics paper. And unfortunately for him, he went to smoke, went to sleep, he was late. When he came, he was denied access to enter the hall to sit to the exams. So you see what happened to him. So these are things that we should confront, misinformation. And it is coming from us. You trust me, I come and lie to you. No, you say, no, Jobate cannot lie to me, he's a trusted guy. No, verify the information. Otherwise, you'll bow down your head somewhere at some time. When you are confronted, you don't have anything to say. You say, it's from Jobate. When you confront, I say, boy, definitely I did not say it. So what happened? So let's try to be factual, and let's try to verify information. And let us not spread bad information or information that we are not sure of the authenticity of, because it could be dangerous. It's a small country. Social media, everybody is into social media. That's fine. But let's try to use positive information, truthful information. We share that on social media. That will be beneficial to people, not to misinform people and then put them in trouble. Like the young ladies, most of them, these drug users will use them as couriers. When we say courier, that is moving drugs from point A to point B. Now I have drugs in Gambia here. I am a renowned drug dealer. Drug squad officers, whenever they see me, wherever they see me, they want to charge me. They want to corner me aside and charge me. I say, okay, I have drugs in Gambia. I want to transport it to Banjul. I just confront one girl here and say, please, I have something, I want to give it to you to help me to take it to Banjul. But by the time you get to Banjul, I'll pay you $10,000. Now that girl's focus is going to change. He's going to concentrate on the $10,000 that I promised. Because from here to Banjul will not take you 1 hour. You just go to Banjul in an hour time, you have your $10,000. You start thinking, If I have $10,000, I can get a nice dress. If I have $10,000, I can get a nice mobile iPhone, you know? But not forgetting the fact that along the line, from here to St. Banjul, you could be arrested with that drugs. And if you're arrested with the drugs, the person who gave you is not the one we are going to arrest. You are the person who was caught with the drugs. You are the person that is going to face the drugs, face the challenge. We have a scenario. At one time, one night, we came here on an operation in Gambia here. We arrested a girl at 2 a.m. with cannabis. When the girl was arrested, the boyfriend who gave her the drugs to enter the clubs, the boy disappeared, switched off his mobile phone, and went home. The girl was arrested. The girl's mother is from Joswang. 2 a.m., the mother had to trek on foot because she could not afford a town trip. She had to walk on foot from Joswang to Senegambia here. And even that, she could not save the daughter. So these are serious things. So we need to talk to people. We have to act smart. We have to be smart. Carry this for me. I don't know you. I'm not carrying it. You sit in vehicles, public transport. I have a small bag. I say, please, sister, can you keep this under your chair for me? I'm not quite comfortable here. No. If I cannot keep my bag, that's my bloody problem. Let me get down and wait for a car where I will be comfortable and place my bag under my foot. Because if you are arrested at the end of the day, I will say it's not mine. We've seen cases of that. A 19-year-old schoolgirl was arrested at Mandinaba. She was given drugs in Sibanor to bring to Brikama. Mandinaba, she was arrested. The person she claimed gave her the drugs. When the person was called, she said, no, I don't even know this girl. How can I give her when I don't know? So these are things we have to know. You see, information is very important. Let's share valuable information so that we learn from them. Otherwise, we mess up ourselves along the line. The drugs, the punishments are very harsh. Like possession, if it is cannabis less than 2 kilograms, that's possession, depending on the quantity. You might be fined $50,000. And let us be very realistic here. Everybody is struggling to put food on the table. Me, I have 6 kids. If you want me to pay $50,000 for one of them, not for school, not for anything, just to pay $50,000 to prevent him from going to mile 2, no, I will not do it. I'll say, take him to Janjambure if you like. Yes. You see, let me enjoy the 50,000 with the other with the remaining 5. Yes. Simple. So these are things that are very, very important. So let us share valuable information with our friends, with our colleagues, so that at least we all benefit from them. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You made mention of something that is very fundamental, that there is a disconnect between the civil society and the government. And we need to understand the role of civil society is not to work independently. We are expected to work with the government. Anything, any idea that you have, any input, you need to engage the government, not to be criticizing on social media. Do direct engagement. That is more effective. Because some of these people, they are not using social media. That is the reality. Maybe even the president or the VP or the PS of various ministries, they are not using the social media. So why not you do direct engagement, build that connection with the government. Your role is not for you to be seen on social media. Your role is to make meaningful impact in the work of the government. So I will encourage all of us to actually adopt that format of engagement. So we don't have much time. I think we are left with only 30 minutes before the lunch break. Now I will like to open the floor for question and answer session, and also any contribution. But however, let me emphasize, it's not possible for all of us to ask questions, so I will just limit it to 6 questions. And please, just summarize. Please summarize, please, okay? Let me start with the lady. Come, the lady with the glasses. You, yeah. Okay, please pass it.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am our boy, representing persons with disability here. So my question goes to the guy from the drug law enforcement against. Most of the times, what we do see is we arrest you people arrest young boys smoking cannabis. But looking at the gender sensitive here, women who are selling these tobaccos to our fellow humans, are they? What are your people doing to ensure that these people also stop this? Because most of these cases do affect our reproductive health. And every day we normally see them selling these drugs in the markets. Wherever you go, you see them with their plates selling this tobacco to our fellow women. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Madam Boy. As you may be aware, that the Drug Law Enforcement Agency is created by an act of the Parliament called the Drug Control Act 2003. And that tobacco that you're mentioning does not fall under our purview. So therefore, we don't have right to arrest anybody for using that medical tobacco. That falls under the police, I think, under the police. So the police could arrest and then prosecute on that, but not us. All right? Thank you.
Sorry, I wanted to suggest if you could take maybe 5 questions for the first round, and when you respond, then we can take a second round. So the rule of, hello, calm down. No matter how sweet you call my name, do not make me give you the mic. So, you don't have to talk, just raise your hand. Yeah, so we'll take this side first, and then we'll come to the... We will take 5 from this side and 5 from that side. Is that okay? It's not like I'm consulting you, I'm deciding. Okay, so we'll take 3 from here and then 3 from here. Is that fair? All right, thank you. So, yes. Please keep it shorter.
All right, sir. Assalamu alaikum. I would like to thank the entire panelists that are sitting here, starting from the drug law enforcement to Mr. Courier. Some of the questions that I have been answered, most especially with the rehabilitation centers, because that was my worry. We don't have a rehabilitation center in the entire country. But my question now is going to be, with the drug law enforcement, do we have any programs to those convicts that have been arrested with drug law-related activities while they are in prison? Because most of the cases, as you explained, if you arrest them and take them to prison, to a point where you know that if you release them, you will arrest them again, to a point where you know that I've even seen a victim that you know that they have arrested him to a point where you know that even drug law enforcement, if they are coming to arrest him, if they come, they will tell Bagari, Yola, okay, ega simoto them. So those kind of people, do you have any program to help them in the rehabilitation of them while they are in prison before they are released to the general community? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, to give a very short answer to that, that
you
does
want to
not
answer now, or you want to wait until we take the question?
No, wait, let him answer this one, and then the next question can come.
Okay.
That also does not fall under our purview. Where we can stop is we prosecute them. It is the responsibility of another level, another arm of government, that is the judiciary, to convict and send the individual to jail. Now, once they are in jail, they are under the prison's authority. But I understand the government have an agreement. The prison have a connection with Inside Training Center, where they organize training sessions for inmates at Mile 2. And I believe a good number of them have benefited from such trainings. Not long ago, they conducted their graduation at Mile 2 there, where some of them were trained on a lot of skills, life skills, you know, and then they graduated in Mile 2 there. So I believe by the time they are released from prison, they can use those skills to live a healthy, decent and healthy lives. Thank you.
Okay, put your hands down. Okay. Well, I have a lot of things to ask and say, but I will just try and limit this. Okay. First, I have a statement to give to the drug law enforcement. We are going, yeah, I'll make it a question then. We will first blame you for not having a rehabilitation center. That is what you were supposed to start with. It is not serious to say that a full drug enforcement agency does not even have a rehabilitation center for youths. That's the first wrong thing. So for the youths here to accept you, to acknowledge your job, we also must tell you what you have done wrong. And you have wronged us in that aspect. Because today, we have seen the rise of mental health in the country. Solomon can say something about that. So please, work as fast as you can in ensuring that you provide us with a rehabilitation center. So the other thing that I want to talk about, to ask you, is that there are a lot of drugs that we are seeing recently in the country that were not here. Before, we used to be more focused on cannabis, tobacco, and the like. But what are you doing to ensure that those drugs do not even enter the country in the first place? Because these youths are not going outside. They get these drugs from the country here. So what are you guys doing to make sure that these drugs don't get here? And if you take these drugs from the youths that are abusing them, how do you dispose them? Where are they going to? We want to know this. Thank you.
Thank you. I am so sorry, guys. I already feel guilty, honestly, that all of you brilliant young people with your brilliant questions, not all of you will be able to be heard for this session. I'm so sorry in advance. Please, when I give you the mic, you have 30 seconds to ask.
Cham, can we answer that question and then we move to the next question?
Yes.
Cham, let me answer her question and then we move to the next question also. Okay. But Cham, don't forget about Rose. Rose has a very important question that she wants to ask. Yes, Rose, don't forget about her. Yes, thank you very much, Ma. Okay, thank you very much for that wonderful and brilliant question. The Drug Law Enforcement Agency is us, including you and me. It is not Dauda, it is not Jobate, it is not Sisao. It is we, the people of the Gambia. That's who work to make sure that we have a rehab center in the country. As he rightly mentioned, the Drug Law Enforcement Agency is a subvention. They get their subvention from the government. So I think we need to make sure that we all put our hand on deck to make sure that we have a rehab center in the country, either by hook or by hack. So now the ball is in our court. I think the university students, the CSOs, whosoever is here, can we all watch towards this and say, okay, by 2024, we want to make sure that we have a drug rehab center in the Gambia. Can we do it? Yes. I think we can do it. Very good. So now we need to work towards that, right? Very well. The Drug Law Enforcement Agency, as he rightly mentioned, we are doing all means to make sure that we have a rehab center. We already have a plot. So if you know any philanthropists, let's work to the individual, and then we have a center. He's mentioned it here. We have personnels that we are trained on ICAP, International Certified Addiction Professionals. So that means human resource is not a problem. So the center is the problem now. We work towards that. The second question is, you very well know that we live in a technological world. Things are advancing every day. You at your home, I am 100% sure your kids are watching channels that it is written LNV. Not so. Love, nudity, and violence. It is written on channels plus 18, plus 16, but still our children are watching it. People will watch things on TV, try to imitate that. People will watch things on BBC and say, okay, these are drugs that have been used in different... The drug that we're talking about recently, Kus, is emanated from Sierra Leone. And if you go to the Drug Law Enforcement Agency page on Facebook at the moment, you will see that the people that are arrested with this Kus, most of them are not Gambians. Our borders are porous. But every border in the Gambia here, we have our officials at that particular place. But how many of us are ready to share information with the drug law enforcement officials that XYZ is dealing in drugs? Maslaha syndrome, ninga a report iba askero iba mutala ya samba prison no atene kira dimba al balundi. How many youths is that individual destroying? First, what they will do is they will give it to you for free. Once you are addicted to this substance, they will ask you to buy it. In an instance, you did not have any work to do so that you can have money to go and buy the substance. What will happen? you will go and break people's properties, steal people's properties, and go and sell it at cheaper price to make sure that you have money to go and buy the substance. And drugs and crimes are interrelated. They are twins. They are intertwined. Wherever there are drugs, there are crimes. Wherever there are crimes, there are drugs.
Thank you so much. I think for the sake of time, we would... yes, please, before I take the next questions, I just wanted to say something. Whilst we appreciate the response from the DLIG, I really want to believe, despite all of us being responsible for drug enforcement, I think it has already been said by the moderator at the beginning, the primary satellite institution for this is DLIG. So you must take the lead. What we are doing right now is part of our efforts as civil society to contribute towards enforcing it by raising our voice on these issues and making suggestions. But we really want to, we know you're doing very well, but we need more. We want you to do more, right? Yes, and I think all of you would agree on that.
Tell government to give us more money.
Yeah, exactly, right? That is what we want to hear. We understand it's our role. Now, tell government to give us more money. This is where we can encourage conversations, go to the National Assembly, allocate more budget, you know, for the DLIG and so on. So I'll just go ahead to take this question, yes.
Good afternoon to you all.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Thank you so much, champion, for giving me the opportunity. And I have two questions, and one for Dawda and one for David. Then my first question for them is that, you know, you have mentioned that there's only 2 or 3, you know, have to say psychiatrists, you know, doctors. And what are you doing to improve that, you know, number? Because, you know, it's very important. The entire country, only 3 or 2. So it's very crazy. So what are you doing to increase that number? Whether you are going to sponsor those, you know, who are, you know, nurses and to become a qualified doctors or what? And my other question, hello? My other question for, you know, Drug Enforcement Agency, I say a very big thank you to you, and you are doing a very good job. I can attest to that, but because I am from Sukuta, and you know, I know, you know, every day, thank you. Every day I saw the people, you know, roaming about and, you know, arresting people, and you know, honestly, I know what kind of job you are doing, to be honest, and also. Yeah, I also work, you know, at Brusubi Police Station as a JP assistant. And, you know, the Brusubi Police Station where, you know, the drug squad are, you know, I know what kind of job those people are doing. So, and the guys. So, I am in part of those people. And what I can you know, ask you is that, you know, do your job as you are required to do it. Don't fear anyone, and don't be biased. Thank you.
Yes. Do your job, don't fear anyone, don't be biased. Please allow me to be biased in this case, because one of the panelists said Rose would ask a question, which is very biased from the panelist. Please, is the panelist that was biased? Allow me to give the mic to Rose.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and I'm thanking the panelists for that. Yes. Oh, the mic, I'm sorry. I'm thanking the panelists for that wonderful discussion. But I believe, and this is to the organizers, I believe somebody from welfare should have been there. And when we are talking about rehabilitation, it should start from us, from the community. Because the way when they come out from prison, the way we take them back and, you know, welcome back into the society is very questionable. The way you pick them up from the street is very questionable. Nobody is questioning the fact that you're going out, giving sensitization, but I believe you should also, you know, do workshops or training on human sensitization with your officers, because the way they handle these boys, it makes them give up, both male and female nowadays, because the drug does not have a home, both male and female. So I believe the way you should go with it, it starts with you. So what endeavors are you doing on your part to make sure that your own officers are trained in human rights aspect to treat these people with care and the respect they deserve?
Human rights. Where's Mr. Johnny? All right.
Sorry.
Actually,
can I say something?
Yes, I really wanted if you would agree with me. We take all the questions and then you answer them, because I think that would save more time. Is that okay? I'm sorry. I'm not deciding. I'm just suggesting.
It's okay, but sometimes, you know, if you hear more, the mind actually switch.
Okay, you can answer. Yeah, that's fine. You can answer. No, I asked just two of them. This is the last one from this group.
Thank you very much. We are coming from far. My name is Yai, and I am coming from North Bank. I believe I am representing the people of North Bank, so I will speak. Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Sanyang. You made mention of your roles, that is to go out and sensitize people about drugs. I think that one is a recommendation, though. But I would say I think the sensitization should start from the police officers. And sometimes you say drug. When we say drug, it doesn't matter the kind of drug. Drug is drug. Whether it's cigarette, whether it's gas, which is locally called in my side, but we know drug is drug. So I think this sensitization sometimes will start from police officers, because you don't expect me to stop smoking or stop using drug abuse when you yourself you are practicing it. It's just like this. In fact, it's the same thing we discussed yesterday. You cannot ask me to advocate it when actually myself I am doing the same thing. So sometimes it becomes difficult. So the sensitization should come from, should start from them. There's another thing that you mentioned, that is you have been going to schools and sensitize them about drug abuses. So my question is, what are you doing to make sure you sensitize those who are not going to school, especially persons with disabilities? And the same question goes to mental health, that is Solomon. We have hospitals, we have district hospitals in our area. Yeah, we know we have people who are responsible for mental issues, but there is no one who is responsible for persons with disabilities. So I think it's important we have them in our areas, because we have people who are into drugs who cannot speak or do other things. Thank you very much.
There is no doubt this is the best breakout session since the Youth Connect started. It's about to go down. I will take 3 here and then 3 there.
Hi, so good afternoon. My question is just a quick one, right? Looking at the interview with Sultan on Ifam Bondi, Sultan and FM Koli, who is a retired drug law enforcement agency officer, he said that drug law enforcement agents, SNG officers, are responsible for aiding the in and out of drugs in this country. What's your take on that?
And I don't take passive vice chancellor debate. POI. Yes, we let them ask. I mean, answer. And then, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, let's allow them to answer.
Okay. Sorry, I think you will have to allow us to speak, because the mind can switch if we also hear interesting conversation.
That's true, yeah.
So it's definitely important. All right. First of all, I will have to say is that, because I was trying to get some notes. My colleague said here something about when it comes to individual, because I plead to make a comment, but I do not have the chance. That is, especially people with behavioral disorder. We have to realize the fact that our society, we are having also problems that are different with drug, and we don't also realize. Behavioral disorders problem, people might adopt different behaviors. It might be they love stealing so much, or they love just doing bad things. It became a disorder that they adore, and they keep doing this thing out of their pleasure. So this thing is a mental health problem, and it needs treatment. There is a level where an addictive person can have the problem the same time, substance abuse problem with a mental health problem. They all go correlated together, in line with behavioral disorder as well. So this is where you will have them, of course. Officers will know their names, because whenever they are discharged, they will steal. They love it. Others will even stand next to you and be taking your mobile phone, watching at you. But they don't really care, but they enjoy it. It's a pleasure for them. We have to start realizing to ask questions. Why? Anytime we see a problem, why? Let's not jump to the conclusion, because the why gives us a direction. It gives us an understanding that when we are acting, we act with facts and backgrounds that this is the core reason. So my colleague here have also stated something very important, and I say thank you for that, because I am representing an organization. This organization is a voluntary mental health organization.
it is not the government, but it is, the reason why it really established is to complement government effort, because we saw the need and the gap that is there. And then we come up with this intervention to make sure that mental health problem is being served. And why more we are into psychoeducation, because we have realized, and also a report have stated, that 70% of people in the Gambia, if you ask them about mental health problem, they believe it's caused by witchcraft and demons, which I will not also say is not true, because the real core cause of mental illnesses is still not found by scientists. But the triggering factors are found. That is the use of drugs, that is being exposed to certain environmental hazards, and all those things, you are more vulnerable. But the real cause is still not found. Scientists are still researching this. So it is important that when we are complementing government effort, we want people to hear, the society to advocate, to know the right problem, because not everyone have the time to investigate these things. We as an organization spend our time and energy to make sure that the public is aware, the standard, the stage, and the condition, and then we can address the particular problem. We further even try to make a connection within the ministry and the European Alliance Against Depression. The European Alliance Against Depression is a body of all different European states. They are with a lot of doctors and psychiatrists. They develop treatment programs. So we realize that there is lack of capacity, so we end up making a connection within the European Alliance and the ministry, so that we can work on how to come up with treatment manual, and how do we integrate this thing even to the university level with the support of these professors. Something about disabled. There was a third question. The lady asked something. Okay, thank you. All right, in summary, people with disability are the part of the most vulnerable group when it comes to mental illnesses. Because these people, I don't call them either disability but differently able. Because disability is making us make them feel inferior. So in the sense, they are differently able people. And the fact of the matter is, they should be the first people to reach out when it comes to mental health, when it comes to psychological and emotional elevation, because it is highly needed for them, because our society stigmatizes them, discriminates them, do not prioritize them. All these things are factors. Them dealing with that is the bigger problem, added to their conditional problem that they have. So they need care and support.
Thank you very much. There was a question from the young man there that FM Koli, a former officer of the Drug Law Enforcement Agency, made an allegation against some officers of the Drug Law Enforcement Agency. Well, as I speak, we take that as a mere allegation because there was no evidence that is presented by FM to prove his claims. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Finally. There was a question that was thrown to, I think, to you, that what are the mechanisms to stop the drugs that are coming in? Because the people that are within the country are not going out, they are receiving it here. That question was not answered properly. And then, yeah, the disposal as well. Then my question is, you made mention of the schools. The schools that you are reaching out to, only public or the private sectors are also private schools?
Yeah, hello? Yeah, you. Okay.
That we do know. Banjo, you are very good at reading. But for sensitization, it doesn't come to our people. All right? And every every other day, your people are raiding our young people there. All right? And there was a there was this young boy that you run after the guy until into somebody's parlor, into their own room. How can we, now I come, get emotional. Our young people with respecting their rights and respecting the rights.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Before you come in,
Yeah,
hello. Let me say this, guys.
Okay.
There are functional ways of dealing with drugs. As someone with a law background, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm someone with a law background. Sometimes arrests are conducted in a manner that is going to reciprocate the reaction of the suspect. If a drug suspect, or if someone suspect of drug runs into someone's house and there's reasonable suspicion that the drug is on the person, and allowing the person to get into that house comfortably might create an opportunity for that person to escape with such drug, and thereby create an opportunity for someone else to use those drugs, and use that opportunity for someone else to get addicted and get harm to health and so on. The law gives them the opportunity or the right or authority to arrest. Let me just say this. Please, I'm not representing the panelists. I'm just speaking as a former law student. Okay, good. Yes, you can go ahead before the next question.
Thank you very much. I think, sister, I think that question has been answered. No, now, let me just come back to state that, to support what he has just said. Now, if we have a reasonable belief that the person running has drugs with him, and obviously, when we allow him...
Yes, let's listen.
Allowing him to escape with that drugs will be hazardous to other users. So what do? We will chase the guy. Even if he enters under your bed in your parlor, in your bedroom, we will enter your bedroom, enter under your bed, get him out with the drugs, and take him. Number two, no, wait, I'm coming. I'm not done. Number two, if you can remember, hello, in Banjul, few weeks ago, there was this murder case, and it was believed that the person who committed the actual offense was under the influence of drugs. So a committee was set up. I was invited to that committee meeting, and I took part in that committee meeting. And right now we are planning, we have issues that we are planning. We want to take certain actions in Banjul with regards to sensitization. And when our school sensitization, we are not only targeting public schools, no, both public and private schools. But we do it in stages, from time to time. Because we understand that when schools reopen, schools are usually very busy. We give them some time to settle down. When they settle down, we select about 10 schools, we go. Then towards the end of the term also, we select certain schools and go. All right? Thank you. Yes, and somebody also said these drugs, we allow them to come to enter the country. Now, all official borders of the Gambia, there are drug law enforcement officers posted there. But one thing you need to understand is that people that deal in these drugs, that bring in these drugs, sometimes they don't use the official borders. Our borders are very porous, And even if they pass through the airport, sometimes we might not see them because we don't have the machines. Okay, we use detection machines, we use manual searches. When we suspect you, we profile people. When we look at you, we profile you. And if we are suspicious, we try to conduct a search on you. And all the drugs, somebody said recently, a lot of drugs have been arrested in this country. Who arrests them? Thanks to our efforts that those drugs are arrested. If we are not doing what we are supposed to do, they will not be arrested. But we are arresting them. So thanks to the league that those drugs are arrested. Very good. What do we do with those drugs? Now, hello. When we arrest these drugs, chain of custody, there is usually a transfer of the chain of custody. If we arrest drugs, at the first instance when we arrest them, the drugs are under our custody. When the matter is taken to the court, because that drugs you have to present it before a magistrate or before a judge, then the chain of custody will transfer from us to the court. When the case is decided, the drugs will be given back to us again to keep. Then at the end of the year, cases that have been decided at the court and they are completely done, decided, we will destroy them. And we have a place in Cape Point where we used to destroy these drugs. And on drug destruction, we publicize it. We invite the media, print and electronic media, television, everybody, general public, diplomats, service chiefs, Everybody is almost invited, and then we do it in an open space, openly, so that everybody witness it. And before we destroy the drugs on that particular drug destruction day, we make sure that those drugs are tested and then confirmed to be drugs before they are destroyed. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone.
Yes, good afternoon.
My name is Lamin Sow. I have a question, and it goes to Dauda. And it reads, the rate in which drugs is being used by youths within the Gambia is escalating. And it is our own people who are tasked with the responsibility of upholding the laws. Yes, I'm coming. So it's our own people who are tasked with the responsibility of upholding the laws are the very people who are going against the law. The reason why I say so is your own officials and your own personnel are the very people who are being bribed by people who are dealing with drugs. Like, for example, I'm a drug dealer who normally comes with expensive drugs. You come and arrest me, and I promise you a remuneration, and you just go by, you just leave me go. And what is your institution doing towards that when it comes to?
Thank you very much. Before I answer your question, I think this lady here made mention of officials. Hello, Cham. After you ask this gentleman, give him the floor. Let him ask his question, right? I think he has a very important question. Yes, you will be given the floor.
Alhamdulillah.
Let me answer
Yes.
this question.
Okay.
I'll get back to
Okay.
you. The lady here made mention of officials using substances or drugs. I am going to tell her this and every individual here that the Drug Law Enforcement Agency, there is no official in the Drug Law Enforcement Agency as we are speaking that is using any substance. There is nobody in Drug Law Enforcement Agency that is using any substance of any nature. Because what we did is we conduct a test from the Director General to the last person. You cannot be fighting drugs and using drugs. And when we conducted the test, there are people that tested positive, and they were sent on administrative leave 2 good months without salaries. And when they come back after 2 months, the test is conducted by themselves. And those that tested positive were sent home indefinitely. So the Drug Law Enforcement Agency, the Director General is not entertaining that. So as of now, there is nobody that is abusing drug in the Drug Law Enforcement. If you see anyone, tell us and we will conduct a test on him. And if he or she tested positive, he is going home indefinitely. So what he is talking about, I think if you have any evidence against our officers extorting money from people, you have all right to report to the Drug Law Enforcement Agency. We have professional standard and disciplinary committee in the Drug Law Enforcement Agency. That professional and disciplinary committee is there to make sure that anybody who is found wanting is dealt with according to the law. You are paid to fight drugs. You are not paid to help drug dealers in distributing or whatsoever as drugs are concerned. So if you have any evidence, please, we have a toll-free number, 1213. You can call it and give us information. Please, 1213. You can call it without even a dime in your mobile. So,
1213.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Okay, Alhamdulillah, I've been given the floor. It is indeed sad that prominent young people who are sitting here are unfortunate to be in a joking country. Sorry to say. The rehabilitation center that you made mention, thank you for the effort, but we have not seen it yet, so we will not give you 100% thank you. And for my own observation, I think it should be taken to the provinces. Let them go, cultivate rice, and feed us, I think. Now, coming back, you people, I want to ask, do you have a wall between you and the senior government officials? Because I meant to believe, if no, why is it that you people are not much more focusing on the senior government officials? We as young people, we believe those are the people who supply us with drugs. They instruct you to follow us, arrest us, and go and jail us. Now, the question is, when you don't stop the source of water, the pipe, the busted pipe that you're trying to fix will never be fixed. I don't know whether you understand. Let's go back to the drawing board. Sorry, champion. Sorry. I'm very sorry. Let's go back to the drawing board. The tinted glasses, which are having number plates of GG, are the exact transporters of drugs. Search them, and get them prosecuted. We don't want you people to be arresting our own brothers. It's good to arrest them. It's good to minimize. It's good to stop. But I'm trying to say we are not hoping you, or we don't want you to be arresting them, jailing them for years, whilst we have people coming up with containers of drugs and you're doing nothing about it. Good. I come down to Red. Sorry, champion. I'm very sorry. Red, I am sorry. Red, I am from a community that all young people, let's say 90% of them, you know what I'm talking about. That is Banjul. They're using drugs. Your office is in Banjul. Weeks back, there was this young man who was killed because of drugs. What are you people doing to make sure that you at least minimize what is going on? Or are you only sensitizing people in a covered room? Are you going down to the level of the community and talk to the young people?
I want to appeal, please, if you're giving the mic, do it in 30 seconds. There are 1,000 people that want to talk. Okay, yes. It's time. All right, thank you. Sister, is it time? I go by instructions. I have no powers. Except if you want us to vote. All right, let's allow him to answer, please. Yes.
Thank you very much. I think it's a brilliant question. But you know, drugs, we believe in evidence. There is nothing like mere allegation as far as drugs are concerned. You cannot just sit and say, okay, XYZ in dealing in drugs without any evidence that you see or you showcase. So when it comes to drugs, you must have evidence in order to arrest people that are dealing in drugs. The containers that are arrested, they are arrested by the Drug Law Enforcement Agency officials, not so. So if there is any government officer that is dealing in drugs, maybe I might not know, our officers might not know, but you, a very good citizen that know, share information with the Drug Law Enforcement Agency officials and we will get the individual. Recently, hello, there are some people still talking. If you follow our Facebook page, we do update there anytime there is arrest effected. Last week, there was a PIU officer that was arrested with 5 big bundles. The individual was coming from Kersanyang in Nyomi, trying to cross Adbara, and he was arrested with this said drugs. There is nobody that is above the law as far as the Drug Law Enforcement Agency is concerned. If you know any individual that is dealing in drugs, whether tinted glass or transparent glass, blue glass, white glass, share information with us, and we will do all means to make sure that we arrest the individual, whether it's a soldier or whatsoever individual it is. But let's share information. You cannot see XYZ dealing in drugs, and you said, okay, he's a senior government official, and then you said, okay, I don't have anything to do with it. You have right to share information with the relevant authority, that is the Drug Law Enforcement officials. And when information is shared, we equally have our officials that will go and survey. That's what we call surveillance. You have to survey and see what information this individual shared, whether it's based on malicious information. Because you can see me driving a very nice Jeep, and you feel that, okay, maybe this individual is dealing in drugs, you go and report without any concrete evidence. That is why we have to send our officials to go and do surveillance. They have to survey and see what this individual is into before they will ascertain the individual is dealing in drugs and the like. I think we all have right to share information with the relevant authorities, the Drug Law Enforcement Agency, so that we can, this country, to be honest with you, there are lots of youths that are abusing drugs. You made mention of Banjul. To be honest with you, anytime that I go to the radio, the GRTS, every Thursday I am there. If you believe me or not, tune into GRTS on Thursday from 12 to 1 p.m. There are people that call from Banjul. They have a special place they call Cooking Center in Banjul. How many youths are sitting and abusing substances in that city? It's so devastating. So I think we all have to put our hand on deck and fight this menace. We alone cannot do it. So on that note, I thank you all for your kindness. And I think there is another question, right?
Yes.
It's almost prayer
Good
time.
afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jenna Basane from
Okay, thank you very much, Ibrahim, for that question. As you might be aware, you have attended many training on with Red the Gambia. Okay, our focus has shifted, although we are into drug and substance abuse, but our focus has been shifted from 2015. The reason being, we did an exploratory study. We confirmed that most of the people that use drugs started from somewhere, that is grassroots, that is the tobacco product that they started using. The Banjul has a hope. Banjul, I think I can call it as an hotspot area, most especially the street that I came from, that is Perseverance. Most of the people that are in that street even term me as an informer, because they think that I work for drug law enforcement agency, which I did not. Because whenever I'm passing, when I saw them smoking, if I want to take to them, some people will try to harass me. Not even Banjul. Your question was whether we conduct only in-house training. We don't do that. We have a nationwide coverage all over the country. We go as far as Woolly to discuss, to sensitize people about the effects of tobacco, drug and substance abuse. It's because of our intervention we are able to compel the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency to review the current Drug Control Act 2003 to include rehabilitation centers. But the problem is the government itself are not empowering these people to do their job effectively. If drug is not controlled or regulated in this country, the catastrophic nature of that will be high on people. So this is the method that we are doing. You as an advocate, we need to advocate for the government to empower these people so that we can have a fully functional drug rehabilitation center. They can also empower them to do surveillance on drug trafficking and so that they can detect some of the drugs that are coming to the country. These people are not empowered. They are doing physical searching. There are no methods that are used to detect some of these hard drugs that are coming to the country. Whatever we are saying here, we need to confront our government. Imagine the Tobacco Control Act we are implementing right now. Government is collecting about $400 million from tobacco. No single butut is allocated for tobacco control activities in the Gambia. All the money that we are collecting, we are supporting the Ministry of Health, is all donor funded. So this is what we call advocacy, because the government is coming, they are generating more revenue from tobacco. They don't want to even allocate a single percentage for tobacco control activities. How many people are using these genital tobaccos here? People are using genital tobacco to be inserted into their private part for sexual pleasure. Some are using it because they feel that this tobacco can get to somewhere that men cannot get to. So these are something that we are confronting as a society. We need a collaboration. We need an effort that we can compel our government so that we can make sure that we deter our young people from this deteriorating effect of tobacco use and substance abuse. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Jenna Basane from Banjul, and my question goes to the Drug Law Enforcement Agency. There was a time I met Mr. Gassama, and I asked him, cigarettes and marijuana, are they both legal or illegal? Then he told me that cigarettes are legal, but marijuana are not legal. But my question is, why is it that cigarette is legal when it is already written that smoking kills? And also the thing that you were talking about, the cocaine rehabilitation center. Are we, the Banjulians, aware of it? Is it still operating? And also the Gina bars, you need to do something about it. It is disturbing us in Banjul. And what are the measures that you took for it? Thank you.
With regards to the cigarette is legal. It's the only legal product that is virtually regulated in terms of its contents and emissions. The reason being, WHO realized that drug has been illegal, but that does not stop from processing, production, and trafficking. That is why they make tobacco legal, for it to be controlled. because there are measures that have been put in place in order to make sure that we control the tobacco products. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you so much for your question. Now, I think the cigarette part, Omar has answered that. Now, with regards to Ginebas, like your colleague has stated here, Banjul, we are conducting raids all over, every now and then. And the people that are arrested are being paraded before the courts, for the courts to decide their fate. And we will continue doing that. And we are not only going to stop at that, but we will continue sensitization. There was a time we were conducting radio sensitization at Poliso FM in Banjul. That was purposely for people in Banjul. But in Banjul also, when I went to that meeting, the people of Banjul were complaining that all the drug peddlers in Banjul are from Banjul Central. So I think we have to talk to the people in Banjul. We will also do our part. Yes.
Hey, I'm here. Before you go, Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, wait.
Good afternoon.
Yes, afternoon. You are seeing me with this. Yes, I'm seeing you, yes. I'm seeing you, yeah.
Yes, to the Drug Law Enforcement Agency. Yeah?
Yes.
You have been saying, why are people not cooperating with you in helping your operations?
Yes.
I think there are two reasons, which I will tell you from there and ask a question.
Okay.
Is there any protection? Is there any protection available? I said, Hi, please, before you go, moderator, please, wait, let me ask this question.
Can we be seated, please? Can we be seated, please?
Assalamu alaikum. I did not can ask that. Moderator, 1 minute, please. I believe, with the little research that I've made, the reason why people use drug, I would believe is as a result of the following reason that I would say. One is poverty, 2 is unemployment, and 3 is depression. So what is drug law enforcement doing to remedy those things? Because you cannot stop me from using drug while you are not stopping the push factor that is pushing me to use drug. And the reason why I said people will not cooperate, I believe is 2 reasons. Do you provide protection to your informers? 1, because I'm living in Banjul. I see people using drugs, make reports to you. At the end of the day, my life is at risk. So I believe it's because there is no protection laid upon your informers, that's why people are not helping you. And the other thing is, we have been seeing drugs coming through the seaport. You make limited effort towards them. You saw it on TV today. These are the tons of cocaine you receive. At the end of the day, no one will hear anything. So you don't expect people to cooperate with you in arresting their daughters and sons with just one pack of marijuana. While a container of cocaine you sip from this place, GPA, at the end of the day, we are not aware of the end result. So I will say this, if you want people to cooperate, deal with the higher ones, and that will give us the guts to report the small ones to you. Thank you.
Hello?
Can we remain seated, please? If you are scared, you can go out. If you're not scared, remain seated.
Champion,
yes.
We are drawing the curtain now, please.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
You can do your conclusion.
Hello, thank you very much for your various contributions. Honestly,
okay, sorry.
Hello.
She's crying. Do you mind taking?
Oh my God.
Yeah, just last.
Hey, Alhamdulillah. Thank you. My question goes to the drug law enforcement and also to the mental health guy. Yes, as there is no rehab center for those that are on drugs, how do you handle situations where individuals claim that they are addicted to drugs and cannot stop using them? And to the mental health guy, how do you handle situations where individuals resist treatment or become violent during mental health related interventions? Thank you.
Sorry, this guy wants to make a clarification. You say clarification. Yes.
All right, thank you very much. Now, with regards to this one, your questions. Under the Drug Control Act, Section 88 calls for the protection of informants. Informants are protected, all right? And the second issue is with regards to cocaine. Now, cocaine is a transnational crime. It's not easy to prosecute. But that case you are mentioning about, that is a Bandaketa case. The matter is before the court. And in a matter, if a matter is before the court, we don't discuss it. So we have to wait for the court to decide, and then the outcome of the court's decision will be shared with the public. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And concerning your questions, now, if people claim to be addicts, it's not for them to claim to be addicts. We will find that out. But as of now, since there is no rehab center, the only thing we can do, we take them to court. If the court sends them to jail, that's fine with them. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mine is not a question, it's a clarification. People have been using this terminology since yesterday, and I can say that I have been hearing this terminology differently able. It's something I think we need to clear it. Because when you look at every field, they have terminologies. It is politically nice to say differently able, but when you look at the UN disability inclusive language, it is something that should not be used to describe a person with disability. So we have to look at it very well. The guide is telling us that, and the instruments that guide the rights of persons with disability, they all use what persons with disability. You will not see there a handicap. You will not see there a differently able. The word differently able was used to substitute the word handicap. So you see, it is something that makes disability to be very softened so that people will not discuss about disability. So this is why the human rights activists, more especially those in the disabilities affairs, it is saying that the language condemns the usage of differently able. Politically it sounds good, but when you look at it, it is the same as what saying handicaps. So I'm making that clarification on that part.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
You.
You said something. Yeah, you said something. Okay. When it comes to concerning a violence patient, or you have a loved one that is facing mental health problem, and the person became violent, the fact of the matter is, you as a person, you don't have the right to put the person down, because you can be hurt or they can really affect you. So what you do first, you involve the police. It's the police that is enforced to calm the person down. That is the situation of the law. With mental health, they are using the Lunatic Discriminational Act, currently inactive. So in the sense, you make sure that you inform the police. And the police are trained for the situation to make sure that they calm the person down, and you can guide the person for caregiving. So this is what is there. Thank you.
I almost lost hope because I didn't hear any child speak here. So thank God I was given the opportunity. So actually, we're talking about drugs here, and children are also so vulnerable when it comes to the use of drugs, because maybe papa bo hamna daf detu, so at least every time when you munama awa dama ngedem jindama cigarette si fi suma deme dama ko test man tamit te dama ko, like all the time testing can make me addicted to it. So you guys not talking to, about children here is something that you missed out a lot. And I'm really sure that children are also arrested when it comes to this anti-crime unit going after the drug people that are using drugs. So I want to know, how do you guys take care of these children that are taken to the arrested centers, and what are the things you have in place for them? Secondly, how do you guys know the tactics and strategies of these drug traffickers? Because you said you had, at the borders, you have officers that are usually there. So how come the drugs are still coming to the country and people are having access to them, like it's really rampant? So I want to know these questions. I want an answer to these questions. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I want to use the opportunity to answer your question and also end this session as well. So beginning with the children, I think the Children's Act is very, very clear that actually envisaged to protect the rights of children. And fundamentally, it's anchored on our criminal justice system, which actually states that when dealing with children, you have to make sure that you protect their best interests. So it is a subjective test. So law enforcement officers are advised always, if they come into contact with any child, they have to call the parents first. The parents need to witness as to the legal processes that they are taking in order to have the child arrested. And you are not also permitted to call the child a criminal. It is called an alleged child offender. That is the right word that you're supposed to use. And also, when you are interviewing the child also, you are required to invite the parents to come to have the consent of the child for the interview, and also observe the processes that are supposed to be followed in order to have the child interview as well. So also, in terms of prosecution, there is a specialized court that is designated to hear all matters that relates to cases of children in the Gambia. That is the Children's Court. It is at the Carnegie Magistrate Court. So that proceedings is different from proceedings that are imposed on adults as well. So you also asked about what the government is doing in order to protect the borders. The government actually, I have information that they have been very, very rigorous in ensuring that they protect the country from drug trafficking. Even last week, there was a training on roomaging that was intended to really build the capacity of officers that are working at the seaport. And seaport is very, very cardinal as far as our criminal justice system is concerned. Because we understand that the Gambia is being used as a transit point. Gambia does not have a market for cocaine and heroin. They are using Gambia as a transit point. And this is not only unique to the Gambia. Senegal is inclusive, Guinea-Bissau, and other African countries that are closer to Europe. So one thing that I also want to emphasize is that drug trafficking is here to stay. It is in America. America is more powerful than the Gambia. So we cannot eradicate it totally. However, it is our collective responsibility, because to fight against drugs and crime in the Gambia requires multidisciplinary approach. What do I mean? I mean that all stakeholders need to work as a team to fight against it. The government, of course, is the lead player. The civil society, our families, our brothers are abusing drugs. Let us not ignore them. Advise them. National Assembly members, we need to ensure that we enact sound laws that will address drug trafficking in the Gambia. What about the alcalis, the chiefs? They have a role to play. They are trying to invite strangers who are trafficking drugs. What are we doing to engage those people? But I want to use this opportunity to thank the organizers for organizing this important program. To be honest, it is very, very successful. I hereby declare this session closed. Thank you so much.